Welcome to Populr, where we keep you informed about the latest topics. Today we dive deep into the origins, turning points, and ongoing dynamics of this intricate situation. Given the sensitivity of the topic, we tried to ensure that the content is presented as objectively as possible. Also, considering multiple perspectives, we will try to give you an accurate timeline using 10 relevant subjects. Now, let's get started. 1. Historical roots. The origins of the Israel-Palestine conflict stretch back millennia. The land, often referred to as the Holy Land, holds religious significance for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Throughout history, various empires and groups, including the Romans, Ottomans, and British, have ruled it. However, by the late 19th and early 20th centuries, nationalistic movements became dominant. The Zionist movement, born in Europe, aimed to establish a national homeland for Jews in Palestine. Meanwhile, Arab nationalism also grew, emphasizing Arab identity and opposing foreign control. These twin movements set the stage for the modern conflict. 2. British Mandate, Balfour Declaration. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire, post-World War II, the League of Nations granted Britain the Mandate for Palestine in 1920. The Balfour Declaration, issued by Britain in 1917, favored the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration, however, conflicted with earlier promises made by the British to Arab leaders. Over the next few decades, Jewish immigration to Palestine increased, leading to growing tensions between Jews and Arabs. Clashes became frequent, and the British struggled to maintain order, eventually deciding to leave by 1948. 3. UN partition and establishment of Israel. Seeing the escalating tensions, the UN proposed a partition plan in 1947. This plan aimed to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international administration. Jewish leaders accepted the proposal, seeing it as a realization of the Zionist dream. However, Arab leaders viewed it as a dissection of Palestinian land and rejected it. Following the withdrawal of the British in 1948, David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the State of Israel. Immediately, neighboring Arab states intervened militarily, marking the start of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. 4. Palestinian displacement. The 1948 war was transformative. As Israeli forces advanced, an estimated 700,000 Palestinians fled or were expelled from their homes. These displaced individuals found refuge in the West Bank, Gaza, and surrounding Arab countries, creating a Palestinian diaspora. This event, referred to by Palestinians as the Nakba or catastrophe, remains a deeply traumatic memory. The right of return for these refugees remains a contentious issue in peace negotiations. The refugee camps, initially thought to be temporary, have now existed for over 7 decades in places like Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria. 5. Six-Day War of 1967. In 1967, tensions reached a boiling point. Following a series of confrontations and perceived threats, Israel launched a preemptive strike against Egypt. The war quickly expanded, with Jordan and Syria entering the fray. In just 6 days, Israel captured significant territories: the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights. This victory redrew the map and further intensified the conflict. The UN Security Council passed Resolution 242, emphasizing the inadmissibility of the acquisition of territory by war and calling for Israeli withdrawal from occupied territories. 6. PLO and Hamas. Palestinian resistance to Israeli rule took many forms. In 1964, the Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO, was formed, aiming for Palestinian statehood. Under the leadership of Yasser Arafat, the PLO employed both diplomatic and militant methods. In contrast, during the First Intifada in 1987, Hamas emerged as a major force. With an Islamist foundation, it saw the conflict not just as a nationalist struggle, but as a religious one. Over time, while the PLO recognized Israel and sought a two-state solution, Hamas maintained its refusal to recognize Israel and advocated for its complete liberation. 7. Peace efforts. Oslo Accords. The early 1990s brought a glimmer of hope. With the Oslo Accords, both Israel and the PLO recognized each other officially. These accords outlined a path to Palestinian self-governance in parts of the West Bank and Gaza. Yitzhak Rabin, the Israeli Prime Minister, and Yasser Arafat, the PLO leader, even shared a historic handshake on the White House lawn in 1993. However, the peace process was fragile. Extremist factions on both sides opposed the agreements. Rabin's assassination in 1995 by a Jewish extremist was a severe blow to the peace process. 8. Second Intifada and Hamas governance. By 2000, frustrations over the stalled peace process led to the Second Intifada, a prolonged and bloody uprising. This period saw suicide bombings and military operations, further eroding trust. In a significant political shift, Hamas won Palestinian legislative elections in 2006. Clashes between Hamas and Fatah, the dominant party in the PLO, culminated in Hamas seizing control of Gaza in 2007. This division between Hamas-controlled Gaza and Fatah-dominated West Bank persists today, complicating peace efforts. 9. Recent conflicts and challenges. The 21st century has witnessed repeated flare-ups. Operations like Cast Lead between 2008 and 2009, Protective Edge in 2014, and the recent clashes in 2021 highlight the volatility. Issues like Israeli settlements in the West Bank, the status of Jerusalem, and the blockade of Gaza remain flashpoints. On the Palestinian side, the lack of unity between Hamas and Fatah and internal governance challenges further complicate the situation. Each flare-up leaves behind a trail of destruction, deepening animosities and mistrust. 10. International implications. The Israel-Palestine issue isn't a regional matter. It's a global one. Countries worldwide are often compelled to take positions, balancing geopolitical interests and humanitarian concerns. The United Nations has passed numerous resolutions, and international peacekeepers have intermittently been deployed. Protests, both pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian, erupt worldwide during every major conflict. The situation poses a challenge for global diplomacy, given its intricacies and the powerful emotions it invokes. The Israel-Palestine conflict is a deeply intricate tapestry of history, identity, and claim. Throughout the decades, beneath the headlines and politics, there exist countless stories of ordinary people on both sides, yearning for peace and normalcy. It's essential, as we look into such topics, to approach them with empathy, respect, and a thirst for comprehensive understanding. While solutions may seem distant, the hope remains that dialogue, respect, and mutual recognition can pave the path forward. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. Please consider subscribing for more in-depth exploration.